What's up, gamers, and welcome to the super ultra extra late and extra gay edition of my Game of the Year videos. Hope you had a great 2025. I didn't really, to be honest. I was in a slump for quite a long time, not really playing much of anything other than games I had already played for hundreds of hours. And Trails. The Trails brain rot was real, not gonna lie. And it shall continue! Anyway, I didn't even play a game from 2025 until September. And depending on the criteria for this video, I have about 6 or 7. Oh my god! And one extra. Yeah, that's not a lot. That's the same as my first low effort Game of the Year countdown from 2019. Don't watch that one, it's bad, just saying. Anyway, since I have so few games this year, this will be another low effort thing. Same rules as always, unless I break them. Let's get right into it. Here are the top games I played from 2025. It's only been 8 years since the announcement and 18 years since the previous game, so this one was worth the wait, right?
No.
Okay, this is going to be the only negative entry on the list. It's Metroid Prime 4. And if you saw the stream, it won't be much of a surprise. What an absolute letdown this was. A game that got a lot of hate thrown towards it for what I viewed as a few cherry-picked scenes and ideas, and I thought, yeah, okay, it can't be that bad. Boy, was I wrong. Metroid Prime 4 is easily the worst Prime game for various reasons. Where do I even begin, without making this too long? So, I would describe the story as filler. Just filler. It's bad. Probably one of the worst endings I've seen in quite a while, setting up a future game that we'll probably never get now, since the series doesn't sell like other Nintendo franchises and won't justify the long and disastrous development hell the game went through. Welcome back to the Golden Sun Club. Anyway, in terms of actual gameplay, it's not terrible. In fact, it can be pretty fun. If you go in with zero expectations and zero experience with the franchise, that is. I don't know what they were thinking when they decided to make every zone a linear slog with annoying NPCs divided by an empty open-world desert, other than Nintendo barking at them, make us a cool amiibo somehow so we can rip people off some more, and lock basic features like music behind it. And also, locking hard mode behind beating the game. Stop doing this, developers, please, for fuck's sake. I didn't even use ZL targeting and I only died 3 times in this game. That's not enough. I need more pain. Just saying. God, this game is a travesty, and it's unfortunate because I loved the Prime trilogy. Good thing I didn't have to pay for this one.
Well, one door is still locked, the other one is malfunctioning. Hey, but it's progress. Okay,
Playing a game like Necesse made me feel like I was missing out on Terraria, which I never played because this game is basically top-down Terraria. If that already sounds like a selling point to you, go get this game, because you will have a good time either solo or co-op with near-endless content. But also, if you like town and city builders, you will also probably like this game because it has quite a surprising amount of building and management elements. Though it may take a while to figure out, you can get pretty damn specific in directing how your villagers work and interact with what you build. There's tons of places to explore, including multiple underground layers, and even if it's all procedurally generated, it's still endlessly satisfying due to the infinite amount of loot you can find. Yes, if you love looting everything, you'll have a great time here. I know I did. The game is almost purely mechanical though, you're not going to find much in the way of story or any other motivation like that, as it's kind of nonsense thrown together for fun. But that's the most important thing, right?
The game is fun. If it's not fun, why bother?
I did kind of fall off this one due to not having the time, which is why it isn't higher on the list. But if you like playing co-op stuff with your friends, it might hook you more than it did me. Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky First Chapter. A full remake of the first Trails in the Sky game. It's pretty good. It's also very faithful to the original with some minor annoying exceptions, but also with a few extras. Start here if you don't want to play the originals for whatever reason. But I would wait on starting it until second chapter is out. Just trust me on that one. Oh, and stay away from trailers of any Falcom game because they are loaded with spoilers for some reason. If you want to know my full thoughts on this game, check out the video I made on it, but only if you've played it because there are tons of spoilers in there too. For my Autism Game of the Year, we have Mars First Logistics. If I explain plainly what this game is about, a lot of people would probably assume it's boring. You create a vehicle using fairly basic connector parts and use it to deliver objects from one place to another on Mars. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's obviously more to it than just that, and it's so much more satisfying than it sounds. Especially if you did what I did, and heavily limited the amount of new parts I could buy. And also, the game has quite a bit of interesting twists for some of the missions. For example, delivering a giant wind turbine that's like 3 times bigger than any vehicle you have at the time, or figuring out how to deliver something by attaching it to another object like a crane. And you have to do that by modifying your vehicles in very creative ways, and it's so satisfying getting it down, especially with limited resources. I love this game quite a lot, but it definitely has a lot of room for improvement. The terrain, for example. The map is quite large, which is nice, but I believe it was procedurally generated, creating some horrendously bad landscapes in some areas. You will crash. A lot. Flight was also frustrating to figure out, and it did not take aerodynamics into account, which would have been more interesting. One location you can only get to with flight in some of the last missions in the game that I won't spoil was also fairly disappointing. But the game is also not very expensive, so I can't complain too much. I would love to see these devs take this amazing idea and make a follow-up game, perhaps on an alien planet instead, with different biomes and all sorts of wacky stuff. The possibilities are out there. The Legend of Heroes, Kai no Kiseki, Farewell O Zemiria, or as the non-canon Western version is known as, Trails Beyond the Horizon. I know, it's not really a 2025 game. For us, it's actually a 2026 game, so I did a little time travel just to play it. Get on my level. Anyway, it's actually a 2024 game in Japan, but the fan patch version I played basically made it a 2025 game in March or so. Go watch my extremely short video about this game if you want to know how I feel about it, but only if you've played it and every Trails game before it. Not even exaggerating there. There's too much leading up to this one for you to just jump in. Trust me on that too. Without getting too deep into anything, I will say that this game surprised me in various ways and gave me a lot to think about, which is a really good thing, and a bad thing since this game lived rent-free in my head for months. I just hope the follow-up doesn't shit the bed, whenever that comes out. Stellar Blade. Didn't come out in 2025. But you know what? We can bend the rules and say 2024 was just the beta period, so all the Sony ponies could guinea pig the game for us, and now we have the best version of it in 2025. The PC port. Which I didn't play. I still played the PS5 version. In 2026. But you know what? Who cares? I want to talk about it anyway. Obviously, the game's main attraction is very nice. Enya. Enya must be protected at all costs. Anyway, this game was kinda awesome overall. I do have some nitpicks. A lot of nitpicks actually. But really this game just has an overall vibe that I really jived with. A combination of the level design, exploring around each zone and finding all the hidden extra goodies, the atmosphere of each area, Eve's stylishly sexy and quite flexible playability in combat, and probably my favorite aspect of the game, the music. Man, the music is just so damn good and really sells the game to me better than everything else in the game, in spite of its glaring flaws. Like, for example, that goddamn yellow paint. Yes, it's a meme at this point, but it's easily the most distracting and immersion-breaking thing in the entire game, and there's no option to just turn it off. Honestly, if I could do that, this game would have been so much better in my eyes. The story and characters are also kinda lacking. Didn't take long for me to know where the game was going, but hey. They also announced they are working on a sequel with improvements in every area, so I am definitely looking forward to that. My body is ready. I always seem to have at least one game that gets the cuteness award on these lists, and for 2025, it's The Girl from Arcania. I loved this game, way more than I was expecting to. This is a 2D Zelda-like that's very much in the vein of Minish Cap, but the last few 2D Zelda-likes I played were just okay. Decent, but nothing super amazing. Not that I would call any 2D Zelda clone super amazing, even this one, but, you know, this one hit all the right notes for me. It doesn't just copy the 2D Zelda formula, like at some points in the game you'll find yourself in a dungeon without realizing it because each part of the game flows together so well. The game also has a lot of random loot items that you make money from instead of just finding money everywhere, so it feels more natural, though this could have been done better since most of the items are useless and not craftable. Overall, the story is incredibly charming and silly, and had me smiling throughout. Marisa is cute, her Capybara companion is cute, and by the way, he is fully controllable and can be used by player 2, just saying. All the other characters are cute, especially each of the priestesses. The whole story is cute, and I loved every minute of it. Except some of the backtracking. And the bosses could have been better. But those are just small nitpicks in what's otherwise my favorite 2D Zelda-like so far. There we go. You know, the Game Awards may be illegitimate, but sometimes they get it right.
Claire Obscure, Expedition 33.
Expedition 33.
Laureat Testar.
Jennifer English! Claire Obscure, Expedition 33.
Claire Obscure, Expedition 33!
Wait, no, they got those two wrong. Yeah, this is not an indie game, and I'm tired of pretending that it is for some sort of narrative that, admittedly, I would love to believe in. It's just not true, though. But hey, that's nothing against the game itself, as every other award it won was 100% deserved.
And the game of the year is... Mon ami Claire Obscure, Expedition 33!
I feel like I don't even need to bother with any of the other nominees in each category. This game is on a different level. It's one of those games that you can imagine it being one of your all-time favorite games if you played it back before the others in the genre, like for me, Final Fantasy X. An all-time favorite of mine that Expedition 33 reminded me of the most. It felt like playing another game of that caliber, but with improvements in many areas. It's an evolution of the genre, and I hope other companies are taking notes. Maybe it wasn't just me falling out of love for the linear, turn-based JRPG style games the past 2 years. Maybe I just needed a game like this to prove that. And yeah, I haven't really talked about any of the game's content so far, I know. I don't really have to. I recommend just going in without any preconceived notions or expectations, and just see where it takes you. I wouldn't want to ruin that experience after all. What I will say is that the music really struck a chord with me, and the overall soundtrack is much more varied than what the previews led us to believe. It really is one of the best soundtracks I've heard in quite a while, possibly breaking my top 10, which you can still go watch by the way, just saying. Another thing I will point out, I played the game on expert difficulty, and man, this game will hand you your cheeks if you do that on your first playthrough, as it should. But the game gives you so many options to experiment with character builds and different strategies that it never felt like there was an actual roadblock. But yeah, I do feel vindicated, as this was my most anticipated game of 2025 by far. The entire thing feels like a love letter to the genre and the games it was inspired by. I could feel the essence of Final Fantasy VII, 10, 13, Nier and Nier Automata, and many others. And it all just works. All while being so goddamn unapologetically French. And yeah, that's it. Small vid this time. I do plan on getting some more new games this year, so the next one will be better for sure. With the way I do RNG, I will probably have one from each month at the very least, if not more. And I probably won't have as much Trails getting in the way as seems. Kai 2 is apparently my new Silk song. Doesn't exist until it does. Anyway, here's a list of the other games I played in 2025, which isn't all that long either, but starting with the two most obvious ones. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, because of course, and Satisfactory, which I got up to 1,200 hours total. And then I had to stop again because the more I build, the more my PC chugs. Anyway, continuing on, Tetris 99, Class of 09, Nayuta Boundless Trails, Monster Sanctuary, Against the Storm, Super Mario 64, and Banjo-Kazooie, which I replayed one right after the other, and my opinion on them has kind of changed a bit as a result. Shadow the Hedgehog, which I got all the endings for on stream. Check it out if you want. Such a based game. Fear, which I still need to beat, and Astro's Playroom, which I also still need to beat. Still only played it one time as a little pony celebration of the PS5 I got, so I could see all the dead franchises they referenced in it.
One game, I don't know why.
And that's all, thanks for watching. I know this was super late, again, but now that it's done, I should have more time freed up. Oh wait, I gotta do RNG soon. Shit. Well, if you want, in the meantime, you can also catch my appearance on Nerdy Neo's Top 5 Games of 2025 and our roundtable discussion of Metroid Prime 4, which will be linked in the description. If you want to check out my previous Games of the Year videos or my other countdown videos, you can find them in a playlist in the description as well. 2026 is looking up for me despite having less free time, and I might be able to afford things again, like that new PC I kept hinting at. And then all this bullshit happens. Just my luck. I may have to pick up one of those Steam machines instead until the prices go down. Or I can decide which nut to sell off for a stick of RAM. We'll see. Also, in case anyone missed it, check my last RNG video for info about my Steam profile and curator, so you can add me, gift me games if you want, which will result in a special stream for gifted games eventually, and join my Steam group and curator, which I use to catalog every game featured on the channel. And of course, drop a like on the video if you liked it, or a dislike if you love Metroid Prime so much you want Miles McKenzie to sit on your face.
Okay,
Subscribe for the occasional video and stream. Follow me on the X-Twitter if you hate interacting with me. Join my Discord if you need more brain rot in your life. And catch my videos on Rumble or Odyssey. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.